Travelling. Sicily. If someone ever asked me if Sicily were worth a visit, I'd answer immediately, absolutely it is. I went there with a bunch of friends a couple of summers ago and it were a brilliant trip. In my opinion, the very best places that you can visit in Sicily are the Aeolian Islands, Cefalù, Taormina, Mazzaro, Navali and Syracuse. The Aeolian Islands are a body of islands called Lipari, Salir and Vulcano. All of those islands are frankly just amazing to visit, hosting gorgeous beaches with clear water of a spectacular emerald colour. Such is its clarity you can see the seabed. The food also is lovely, and even though it's not that expensive, the quality of it's top notch. You could readily visit the three islands by ferry, but I'd recommend renting a boat, which isn't exactly what we did. The landlord of the place we were staying in had a boat, and I reckon he felt quite giddy at the prospect of taking 5 young, scantily-clad girls on a boat ride around the islands. Italian men can be a bit weird, which brings me on rather nicely to my next point. Italian, or at least Sicilian men, can be quite tiresome, so you should definitely be wary if you're with your wives and girlfriends. One evening, me and the girls were having a few cocktails on a cute little terrace, and a few Italian guys wanted to come over and sit with us. We reluctantly let them, and well, big mistake. Big, huge. Thereafter it was as though we were in their possession, you know. They kept on coming back, and we kept on asking them to piss off. Very annoying, and frankly speaking, men in Sicily didn't seem as handsome as they do in the rest of Italy. Cefalù's a charming smallish city. Sadly, I couldn't visit it when I did my trip there, but a lot of people told me before and have since that it is well worth a visit. Despite being a small town, many people are lured to its ancient fishing port, Norman cathedral and mind-blowing beaches year in, year out. The Mezzogiorno, usually including anything south of Napoli, is much poorer, and you can get a feel of the decadence there. You can sense the presence of the famed Mafia and wise guys. But the two small cities are poles apart from the rest of Sicily, Taormina and Mazzaro. Both are noticeably touristic cities, and all the buildings have been conserved in pristine condition, which you'd have some trouble finding elsewhere in Sicily. Indeed, Taormina reminded me of the north, much like Milan, with wealthy people dining in swanky, chic restaurants with the remarkable Greek theatre a stone's throw away. Whilst there we tried the famous granites, made with fresh fruit. You can get all sorts of flavours. They're sublime and absolutely delicious. Trust me, I must have tasted about 15. They're more commonplace in the south of Italy than in the north, though. Elsewhere in the middle of the country there's Enna Valley. It also is awesome, and it leaves you under no illusions at all as to how active the great Mount Etna is, billowing out smoke and ash. Remember, if you're gonna visit it, to wrap up and wear a jumper or coat, because the temperature's much lower than the rest of the island. It's really cold. I wore a jumper that I might normally wear in spring, but my friend wore practically nothing. Typical summer clothes, and she were freezing. You should wrap up, but if you're not prepared enough, you can find some chimneys that should warm you up a bit. Finally, Syracuse is a small, cute fishing city in the southeastern coast, where the authentic charm of Sicily can be felt. It's not the most preserved city, but plenty of celebs dock their boats in this city to go and enjoy the food and the amicable people. Again, Mount Etna's never out of sight, but there's plenty more to see here, with its rich Greek history and monuments aplenty. Well, those are my recommendations if you visit Sicily. There are other cities like Palermo or Catania, but in my opinion they only show the chaos and the decadence of the south of Italy. Thus, missing those cities isn't a bad thing. Regarding transport, I'd recommend you to rent a car on the island. Although the Sicilian people drive atrociously, you rarely see any accidents. They must be the best drivers in the world. A car's without doubt the best transport to get around the island. And it's better to go to hotels than rent an apartment. The landlords there normally ask you for extra payment for the cleaning services. I hope you can visit Sicily soon and my recommendations come in handy.